look at this, you look at the polls, you see the enthusiasm, you've done rallies and crowds.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the race?
I feel great. I feel it's, you know, it has to be. If it's not, we're going to be in big trouble. We're not going to have a country anymore. We have no choice. And we have had enthusiasm. Look, we did phenomenally in 2016. We did much better in 2020. And I will tell you, the enthusiasm, some bad things happened, but the enthusiasm that they have now is bigger than either of those two races. And, you know, we're actually less than a year out, but close to a year. I've never seen anything like it. We have crowds that are incredible. In Iowa, we were here last week. We had overflow crowds. And other candidates have like 7 people standing in a farm, and they're talking, and it's a very nice thing to watch, especially for me. I enjoy watching that. But we have tremendous enthusiasm because they want to see, you know, I see Biden talking about, oh, MAGA, MAGA. MAGA means make America great again. That's what it means. And that's what people want. They want, see that gentleman? They want to see our country be great again. Right now, we're not a great country. We're a country in decline. We are a declining country. We're laughed at all over the world. People that respected us 3 years ago, and they respected us. You wouldn't have Ukraine and Russia. You wouldn't have had the attack on Israel. You wouldn't have had that withdrawal. You would have withdrawn, but we would have withdrawn from Afghanistan with tremendous strength and power, and that's the way I had it set up. You know, in Afghanistan, we didn't lose a soldier. Many soldiers were being killed by snipers and others during the Obama administration. And Biden was there. I guess he wasn't doing so much other than collecting some cash, probably. But many soldiers were killed. And I spoke to the head of the Taliban. I said, don't do it, don't do it. Do you know, for 18 months, we didn't lose one soldier in Afghanistan. Nobody knows that. Until that fateful day where they killed our soldiers. They killed our, think of it, they killed our soldiers. They left Americans behind, and you covered better than anybody. And they also left $85 billion of the best military equipment, because I rebuilt the military. They left $85 billion, not million, $billion worth of military equipment behind in the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And the people of this country just don't want to take this anymore. So we gave them $85 billion. They killed our people, and they have people there. They have Americans there that we didn't even get out. It was like a surrender. And after that, Russia said, well, you know, these people are incompetent. They're overrated, and they went in, they attacked Ukraine. That would have never happened. A million years. I used to speak to Putin about it. It was the apple of his eye, Ukraine, the apple of his eye. And I said, don't do it. Don't do it. I won't tell you exactly, but it was tough. In fact, he said, you wouldn't do that. I said, yes, I will. No, you won't. You won't do it. And, you know, he didn't believe me, but he believed me 10%. That's all he had to believe me. And he never did anything. I mean, he never did anything. And, and by the way, President Xi with Taiwan, I had the same conversation, different cities and different countries. I had the same exact conversation. And he would have absolutely, I mean, he's looking at Taiwan very strongly. It would have never happened. And again, for 4 years, it didn't happen, and it was never going to happen. And now it's very possibly going to happen, which would be a shame. So it's one of those things. Thank you. I'd like to be back. Thank you.
Let me ask you this. Earlier today, Joe Biden, I'm sure he mumbled the words as usual. He said this: if Trump wasn't running, I'm not sure I'd be running, he said at a campaign event today. How do you react to that?
Well, I think somebody gave him a talking point. They thought that would sound good. You know, I just found out that Democrats are funding Nikki Haley's campaign. I hear that Democrats are contributing to Ron DeSantis's, or Ron DeSanctimonious, to Ron DeSantis's campaign. And then you hear the talking points. That's the only thing they're good at, cheating on elections and great talking points. They say, we want to run against Trump. They want to run. Well, we did really well in 2016, and we did so much better in 2020. The person they don't want to run against is us. It's us. It's not me. It's us. Because it's a movement, the likes of which this country, Sean, has never seen before.
At the beginning,
No, we have never seen the likes of what we've all done together. This is me, not me, it's everybody here and millions. I think it's not 75 million people. I think it's 150 million people. It might be more than that. I mean, who doesn't want to see strong borders and a strong military and low taxes and low interest rates and go out and buy a house?
I played on purpose because I see what the media is doing now. I put a montage together. They want to call you a dictator. You use the words, "I am your retribution." And now before that, you said if you've been wronged, and you used other words as well. But I want to be very, very clear on this. To be clear, do you in any way have any plans whatsoever, if reelected president, to abuse power, to break the law, to use the government to go after people?
You mean like they're using right now? So, in the history of our country, what's happened to us, again, has never happened before. Over nonsense, over nothing, made up charges. I often say Al Capone, he was one of the greatest of all time, if you like criminals. He was a mob boss, the likes of which Scarface, they call him. And he got indicted once. I got indicted 4 times. I wonder what my father and mother would say looking down.
We had a lot of private conversations in the lead up to your announcement and the day that you came down that escalator. And in that lead up, I mean, we had some passionate discussions back and forth. You were telling me that Iraq should give us oil to pay for the war, and American blood should not be shed overseas in these long, protracted wars. We talked a lot about that. And you have been under fire from that day forward. Russia, you talk about it all the time. Now you face as many as 4 criminal trials during an election year. Now, I've said this publicly, and I'll say it here in Iowa. I'm not sure that Donald Trump can get a fair trial in New York, Washington, D.C. I don't think you can get a fair trial in Fulton County, Georgia. Now, where I think you would do better in terms of real justice would be on appeal. The trials will take place during...
Let's do it in Iowa.
There you go.
He's innocent.
But that has got to weigh heavy on you. And what is your reaction to that, considering all the charges all stem from a couple of years ago?
Yeah, they could have done this 3 years ago, and it would have been long over. But they didn't want to bring them because they had no case. And then they saw how well we're doing in the polls. And the 2 questions I get more than any other is, number 1, will they do it again, sir? Will they do it again? Will you stop them? And we're going to stop them. Number 2 is, how do you take it? How do you get up in the morning, and how do you take it? And that part is easy for me to say. I love what I do because we are going to make our country greater than ever before. And it's so important. It's so important. We are going to do things. We're going to close the border. Day 1, the border gets closed. And day 1 and a half, we drill. You know, we drill, baby, drill. Drill. And probably on day 2, we'll get rid of this ridiculous electric car mandate. We have to go and buy a car. We're going to buy a car. And it doesn't go far. You know, there's a little problem. It's very expensive, and it doesn't go far. So I guess they want to keep you away from going too long a distance from your home. But the whole thing is crazy. You know, they want to make now electric army tanks, and they want to make electric trucks. But the electric trucks don't go very far. You know, on a diesel fuel truck, the big ones, great ones, you go 2,000 miles. On an electric truck, you have nothing left because the battery is so large. Believe it or not, it takes up most of the space, so that's a little problem. But it only goes 300 miles. And yet, it doesn't matter to them. A child would understand, therefore you can't do it. You talk about a supply chain problem, therefore you can't do it. The country is sick, and you say this, do they know what they're doing? Are they smart? Or do they know what they're doing? How could they do it? I see John Kerry all over the place talking about we have to get rid of our coal plants, and yet China is building 1 coal plant a week, massive coal plants, and they're doing it just automatically. And John Kerry wants us to stop doing anything. We can't. We have a country. We have to fire up our factories. Wind is not going to fire up our factories, and it's the most expensive energy. Even solar. I like solar from a concept standpoint, but it's massively expensive. And we can't allow China to build a factory a week, and we do nothing. They build a coal plant, and they're obvious about it. And then Biden goes to see them about global warming. The only global warming we should be thinking about and worrying about, because it could happen tomorrow, is nuclear global warming, not global warming.
We almost have to go to a break. I want to go back to this one issue, though, because the media has been focused on this and attacking you. Under no circumstances. You are promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
what?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border, and I want to drill,
That's
drill,
not
drill.
That's not retribution.
I'm going to be, you know, he keeps, we love this guy. He says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border, and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator, okay?
That sounds to me like you're going back to the policies when you were president. All right,
exactly.
Take a break. Just getting started. We're in beautiful Davenport, Iowa. Donald Trump with us for the hour as Hannity continues. Thank you for being with us.
What's up, guys? So that was a pretty interesting segment. Hannity's worried about this whole Project 2025, Heritage Foundation, Unitary Executive Theory, Agenda 47, all that stuff, and trying to get Trump to answer the question, and he doesn't seem too interested in
I'm
that.
a pharmacist. As we were starting to age, it's like...
Your hair is personal, and so is hair loss. Through Hims, you can get access to proven ingredients and simple-to-use formulas for all types of hair loss, so you can find a treatment that works for you. For regrowth in 3 to 6 months, get started today at hims.com.
What does human talent look like?
Just go on Fiverr. See for yourself.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but it looks like Chris Christie made the debate for tomorrow. So we'll have Vivek, Haley, DeSantis, and Christie.
2 times the healthy blood pressure support? That's a number to rave about. Thanks to Super Beats Heart Chew's unique
The
2X
RNC was
ingredient
really stretching
that helps
for
promote
Christie.
normal blood pressure nearly 2 times more effectively than diet and exercise alone. Super Beats is America's #1 selling beet brand. The only one that's both the #1 doctor
I don't know.
and
Do you guys think there will be
#1
another
pharmacist-recommended
debate
beet
before
brand
the
for heart
Iowa
health support.
caucus, or is this going to
So
be it?
double your potential and get started with a free month
I was thinking this
supply
was probably
at
going to be it, just because the
superbeetschews.com.
ratings keep going down, but you never know.
Hi, Tom. What the? Are you future Tom? After we find out about GovX.com, the saving site for vets like us, nurses, first responders, and other Americans who serve. Well, you look great. We look great, Tom, with thousands of exclusive discounts. Our drinks are cold, our watches are smart, and our future is so bright we gotta wear premium shades at an unbeatable price. Am I in some kind of a tropical paradise? With travel deals from GovX, you're about to be. But quick, you
Yeah,
gotta
I
sign
don't
up or
really
we'll cease
plan to talk
exist.
to it. I
Visit
just plan to talk at the
GovX.com.
commercial breaks. But thanks for joining us, Chris.
HomeAglow just cleaned my entire house for $19.
I don't know.
Seriously,
That was a pretty short
$19.
segment, and
They showed up right on
nothing
time
really came.
and did my dishes,
The left wingers
my
are going to take
laundry,
that clip
they
that
even
we just
cleaned
all
my
watched
windows.
together.
You just pick a date.
And so
pick a
tomorrow that's going to be
cleaner,
all you guys
and
see
enjoy a
is
spotless house for
the title will be
$19.
Trump
I love using
refuses to
HomeAglow,
answer a question
and I
about
think
dictator
you
from
will
Sean
too.
Hannity Town Hall. And the left wing will lose their minds all day tomorrow about that.
Guys, let's be honest. Buying pants sucks. It should not be this difficult. I'm looking for that one pair of pants that does everything. These just came in. They're the only pant from Fabletics Men. 4-way stretch, done. All-way stretch, you're gonna feel the difference.
They should really not. They should have like one commercial break through this whole
The
thing.
best thing about the only pant, honestly,
It's
everything.
kind of annoying having like 10 minutes worth of.
You almost forget
Town
about
Hall,
the deal that you're
and then
getting. Same premium
11
quality as
commercials.
Lululemon, but at a third of the price.
80% off everything at Fabletics.com. Well
Welcome
You
to
know,
the
I like
Hydro
Trump, but, you know,
Experience.
I just don't know, like,
20
when he
minutes
has his
full
town halls,
body
there's just not a
workout.
whole lot of
Low impact,
policy.
steady gains.
It's more just like
Train
broad
with
ideas.
world-class athletes who will take you to stunning locations. Activate 86%
And
of your muscles.
if you guys are at all interested, I'm going to a town hall. I'm going to two this
Twice as
weekend
efficient as
in
cycling
Iowa.
or running.
So I'm going to Vivek's town hall at a pizza ranch on Friday at 11:45, and then
My family is
later
sacred
that
to
day
me.
I'm going to see
It
DeSantis
truly is all that
in
matters.
West Des Moines.
I was
And then
on
Sunday
a
I
work
was supposed to
trip
see Doug
when
Burgum,
that
but he
pulmonary
just dropped out of the
embolism
race
happened.
yesterday.
But because
So
I had
that's
the
not
factor
happening.
5,
But
which
if you guys are
showed
like,
I had
you
the
know,
genetic
interested,
mutation.
you can like
because
leave
I
some
was
comments
aware of
or
that
some questions
gene,
that you want
that
me to ask
saved my life. I
Vivek
would
and
not
DeSantis
have been able to meet
when
my
I
new
go.
granddaughter.
No,
I
maybe I can
truly
pick some out and read
believe
them for
I'm
you guys.
here because of 23andMe.
All right, I didn't realize how loud this was, but I was just saying if you guys are interested, I'm going to Vivek Town Hall this weekend and one for DeSantis. So if you have questions you want me to ask either of them, do let me know before I go. Those will both be on Friday. The Town Hall with Doug Burgum was canceled because he dropped out of the race, so that's not happening. But I still am going to see DeSantis and Vivek.
Home comments about how amazing it smells. My family and I, we feel like we live in a luxurious hotel every day. I mean, think about it. It's been over 2 years, and still the first thing anyone notices when they walk through the doors of our home is how amazing it smells.
These politicians can never agree.
Emma, we don't always agree. Like, you're into politics. It stresses me out.
You sleep hot, I sleep cool.
You like sleeping in luxury. I like spending less.
I guess that's why we agreed on this Satva mattress.
Maybe America needs a Satva.
At least we'd be comfortable disagreeing. Satva, luxury mattresses made affordable.
And welcome back to Hannity. We are broadcasting live tonight. Beautiful Davenport, Iowa. Thank you all for coming. We continue now with former President Donald Trump as we now head into the Iowa caucus season. A two-part question on Joe Biden. One is about his cognitive decline, and the second is about the Biden family syndicate, as I call it. Let's first play an RNC ad about Joe Biden. Take a look.
But the nature, not when the political coverage, that, look, some of the political players and some of the, let me ask a rhetorical question. No, I won't. Anyway.
Now, I could play tape from almost every day. I think another horrible moment for him was that gaggle on Air Force One after he left Israel.
Yeah.
So my question is, what do you think about his cognitive state? And number two, the issue of Hunter Biden, Joe Biden lying to the country as a candidate and president. I never had a discussion with Hunter or my brother or anybody for that matter on foreign business deals. We know, according to Devin Archer, he was on phone calls. We know he was meeting with oligarchs like the former First Lady of Moscow at Cafe Milano. Doesn't seem to get the attention in the media that anything involving you gets. What is your reaction to both?
Well, you know, they've been after all of my numbers and facts and figures, and they found out that it was incredible. Somebody said, you must be the most honest guy in the world, because after all these years, and they saw everything, my tax returns, they saw everything, went up to the ceiling and they saw it. He is number one from your standpoint, cognitively. You like to use that word, cognitively. He's not good, but it's not for me to say. I will say this. I just saw a commercial by these lowlifes. where they took me imitating him at a speech where we were all having a lot of fun. It's not really fun because we shouldn't be joking about it. I actually told Sean, you shouldn't joke about it. It's serious. We're dealing with nuclear. We're dealing with
By the way, that
other
is
leaders.
a true story. You
It's true.
actually called me and said, it's not funny, because I was
Not
joking
funny.
about it.
That's not funny
And
at all.
I said, I thought about it, and I said, you're right. And I said, how come you never listen to my advice?
But it's true. It's actually true, unfortunately. But, so I imitated him, not finding his way off a stage. It's not really that hard. You're looking around, and I walk into a wall. I say, let me see. And I do that a lot. I just sort of, at some of our rallies. And then I'll say, our real president is Barack Hussein Obama. They'll say, he doesn't know who the president is. He thinks it's Barack Hussein. No, I'm being sarcastic. So they imitate it, but they're disgraceful. I'll tell you what. We are dealing, and you are dealing. I got to know them all, the leaders of the world. I got to know them all, and they're at the top of their game. Some are bad people, some are decent people. They all have one thing in common. They want what's good for their country, whether it's President Xi of China or Kim Jong-un of North Korea. You would have been, if Hillary got in, you would have been in a nuclear war. That would have been a nuclear war. Any one of them, they're all, including Macron of France. I mean, you can go to any of them. Putin. They're at the top of their game. We have somebody that was never at the top of his game. 25 years ago, he wasn't one of the light bulbs. He wasn't one of the bright ones. And I tell the story. So Ted Kennedy, believe it or not, was a friend of mine because of Palm Beach. They lived in Palm Beach at what's called the Kennedy compound. And I did him a big favor one time, and somehow he liked me, I liked him, even though we were opposite in many ways, politically certainly. And I said to him, who's the smartest guy in the Senate? And he gave me a name. I don't want to tell you because I really don't like the guy at all. Still around. I said, who's the dumbest? He said, probably Joe. I said, who's Joe? Joe Biden. It's the first time. I said, And that was it. And now I see when he's not in prime time for himself, I mean, years later, he failed on being president when he was like normal. Something is going wrong. And we can't afford it because we have a problem today. Nuclear weapons is the single biggest problem the world has. And we have people, it used to be 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, nobody would have thought about nuclear. You couldn't mention the word. Now it's being mentioned at every meeting. Every time you talk, it's being mentioned. The level of power of the nuclear weapons is incredible.
Scary.
Like, take Hiroshima or take Nagasaki, and you look, and that was many, many decades ago, and multiply that times 500. That's what a big bomb would be today, whether it's Israel or really major countries. Nuclear weapons are the biggest problem we have, and we have a man that can't put two sentences together. We have a man that doesn't know he's alive, and he's backed up by the media. The biggest problem we have, the media. The media is fake. I came up with the term a long time ago, and they won't talk about it.
Let me ask you this.
If I did some of the things that he did, they'd reinstitute the death penalty, okay? They don't want to talk about it. When he gets paid $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife, when I brought it up at a debate, and Chris Wallace was moderating. How's he doing, by the way? Not too good. Chris Wallace, whatever happened to Chris Wallace? And I said, why is he getting $3.5 million? I want to ask him that question. And Chris Wallace interceded because Joe didn't know he was alive. And so Chris Wallace interceded, and he said, you shouldn't be asking that. And now it's a big subject, and I talked about it literally 3 years ago. But why does all this money come in from China? We took in hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs from China. We gave the farmers, by the way, $28 billion. That's why I say I'm going to win Iowa. I had my people say, please, sir, don't keep saying you're going to win Iowa. You sound so really horrible, crass. Somebody said crass. I said, but it's true. We're going to win Iowa. I gave the farmers $28 billion, and I got it from China. Who else could do that? Who else would be able to do it? Number one, who else would think about it? I think about it because the farmers were hurt very badly by China for many years. And I asked our Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue, I said, Sonny, how much damage has been done over the past 7 years, 8 years? He came back, $28 billion. I said, I'm getting it from China, and I got it. And I told the farmers, go out and buy more land and go out and buy bigger tractors, right? You remember that? And I said, I'm going to win Iowa because nobody else is going to be able to do that.
Let me ask you, when prominent Democratic voices like Maureen Dowd and David Axelrod and Van Jones and others are so critical of Joe Biden, and of course, he is struggling cognitively. I can't think of, in the last couple of months, any appearance that he has had where he wasn't either mumbling or bumbling or stumbling or having no clue where to go, where to exit. Now, my question is, do you think in 11 months he will be their candidate?
I personally don't think he makes it. Okay, I haven't said that. I'm saving it for this big town hall. I personally don't think he makes it. I think he's in bad shape physically. Do you remember when he said, I'd like to take him behind the barn? If he took me behind the barn and I went like this, I believe he'd fall over. I believe he'd fall over. And who knows? Who knows? But it was okay. And by the way, it was okay for him to say that. He said, I'd like to take him behind the... He could say that and everyone thought it was so cute. If I ever said it, they'd say, he's a dictator. He's a horrible human being. You know, it's a whole double standard we have, and not only in the law, but just about everything else, as you know very well. I personally don't think he makes it physically. I watched him at the beach. He wasn't able to lift a beach chair, which is meant for children to lift. You can lift him like that. And mentally, I would say he's possibly equally as bad and maybe worse, but I don't know. I will say this, he's got vicious people surrounding him around that beautiful Oval Office. There are people in that Oval Office that are evil people, bad people, smart people, young, vicious, they're communists and they're bad.
Who do you think would replace him then?
Well, I saw one person on who I actually had a very good relationship with, but I'm sure that it would end very quickly. I saw him in your debate the other night, and he's slick, but he's got no facts. You know, he's got no facts. I thought he did well, considering...
You're talking about Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, considering that he didn't have the facts, I thought he did well. You know, he said, we have the lowest taxes in the country. We have the cleanest streets in the country. And I'm saying, wait a minute, is he talking about the same place? So he'd certainly be one. I guess they say that Kamala would be the odds to beat. Because they say if they didn't give it to her, the African-American vote, the black vote, would not go to them. And we just had a poll where I'm at 22 and 25% with the black vote. If we have that, we can call the election over.
We got to take a break.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. A lot more to cover with former President Trump as we continue. We are in beautiful Davenport, Iowa. Thank you for being with us.
All right. So if you guys are just getting here, we're doing a town hall, or Sean Hannity's doing a town hall with Trump. We're about a little over a month away from the Iowa caucus. Tomorrow we have the 4th Republican primary debate with Chris Christie, Vivek Ramaswamy, Ron DeSantis, and Nikki Haley, hosted by News Nation. So that should be interesting. Make sure you're here tomorrow for that, because we'll be streaming that as well. I'll have my panel on here with me to give you guys live analysis. So what do you guys think of this town hall so far?
Two times the healthy blood pressure support? That's a number to rave about. Thanks to Super Beets Heart Chew's unique 2X ingredient that helps promote normal blood pressure nearly 2 times more effectively than diet and exercise alone. Super Beets is America's #1 selling beet brand, the only one that's both the #1 doctor and #1 pharmacist recommended beet brand for heart health support. So double your potential and get started with a free month supply at superbeetschews.com.
Do you take vitamins? A study found little evidence they help, but people who eat 5 servings of fruit and vegetables a day are healthier. That's why I take Field of Greens. Each fruit and vegetable supports my heart, lungs, kidneys, and metabolism for energy and weight loss. And at your next checkup, Field of Greens promises your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back.
Get 15% off and free rush shipping at fieldofgreens.com. Product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Money back terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done that already, because I'll be streaming all these events from now all the way through the 2024 presidential election. I'll be covering debates, town halls, rallies, elections. We'll be covering all the primary elections. I'll be doing live coverage and analysis for the Iowa caucus, the New Hampshire primary, so on and so forth. And of course, other than live streams, I'll be doing my my video predictions, where I do predictions of the primary, the election. I do Senate predictions, House election predictions. So pretty much, if you're into politics at all, subscribe, because it's all going to be right here.
But because I had the factor 5, which showed I had the genetic mutation, because I was aware of that gene, that saved my life. I would not have been able to meet my new granddaughter. I truly believe I'm here because of 23andMe.
When you've tried everything.
I was getting chemical pills, bleaching creams.
This is melasma. I'm trying to get rid of it. I've tried everything.
Introducing Muesli Face RX. Prescription skincare delivered straight to your
So
door.
Doug Burgum dropped out. Now the question is, when is Asa Hutchinson going to follow suit?
So you'll finally see a difference.
Once that happens, I think we have our finalists that are going to go through the Iowa caucus. Trump, DeSantis, Haley, Christie, and Ramaswamy.
What does human talent look like?
And if Ramaswamy doesn't do well in Iowa, I feel like that'll be the end of his path. Maybe Trump will call him and offer him a cabinet position if he drops out. And then Trump will probably pick up a majority of his support going into New Hampshire.
Wow. Imagine working with them.
Yeah, imagine that.
And I'm curious to see who Governor Sununu endorses.
Powered by human talent.
The governor of New Hampshire, because I feel like that'll be pretty critical.
No, we don't always agree. Like,
It seems like he's contemplating between Haley, DeSantis, and Christie. If I were a betting man, I'd probably have my money on Christie, and then I'd probably give him a little bump. Last I checked, it was Trump 45, Haley 18, Christie 11 in New Hampshire.
Satva, luxury mattresses made affordable.
And Cobalt, I don't know if you were here, but when we started the stream, I was just letting you guys know. Friday, I'm going to Iowa because I'm going to 2 town halls. I'm going to go see Vivek, and then I'm going to see DeSantis. So I'm going to have videos and live coverage of that. And I was going to ask you guys if you wanted to submit questions that I could go and ask them when I was there. So if you're all interested in that, let me know. I was supposed to see Doug Burgum also this weekend, but he dropped out, so we had to cancel that. Vivek's Town Hall, he's having it at Pizza Ranch, so that'll be pretty cool. I can eat some pizza, some mac and cheese pizza, ask some questions. I've never actually been to a town hall. I've been to a rally. I was back in 2012. I went to see Mitt Romney in Parang, which I'm now embarrassed of. I tried to see Trump. He came to my town. He came to the Holiday Inn here, but there was too many people, and we're back.
President Donald Trump, let me just throw out a list of some of the significant issues that we're facing as a country, and you've touched on a number of them. You mentioned borders, day one. You mentioned energy, day one. Look at where our economy is. Last year, $2 trillion in debt, $34 trillion overall. Right. We this year, Mr. President, will pay, before we spend a dime, $1 trillion on debt service alone, right, before Medicare, Social Security, national defense. That is unsustainable.
Yeah. So before COVID hit us, our gift from China, that was our gift. What happened to us with COVID, commonly known as the China virus. They don't like that. But it was a China virus. We were doing energy, taking our liquid gold out of the ground at a rate that's never been seen before, and it was going up. We were going to be using that liquid gold to sell to Europe instead of the pipeline from Russia, which I exposed and I stopped. You know, I stopped that line. Then they say I was nice to Russia. There was nobody that was nice. I was not nice to Russia. I stopped that pipeline. We would have been selling oil and gas to Europe, to Asia, all over the world. We would have been paying off debt. That debt would be way down right now because we have more. What people don't know, we have more liquid gold than any other country in the world by far. And we started off in 4th place. We were number 4. It was Saudi Arabia, it was Russia, it was 2 countries fighting for number 3, and it was us at number 4 or 5. By the time I left, we were number 1 by 25%. We would have been number 1 by 100, and we would have done twice what they were going to do combined. We would have been paying off debt, and we would have been reducing taxes. We gave you the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, bigger than the Reagan tax cut. We would have been reducing taxes still further. And that's why, Sean, that's why we had the most jobs of any president ever, because we got rid of regulations, tremendous. No president got rid of more regulations or close. And we gave you the big tax cut. So everybody had incentive, and everybody was happy, and everybody was working. I remember groups came to see me that wouldn't normally like me, and they said, we've never seen anything like it. We were actually starting to get along, but we got hit with the China virus. Some people think purposely. I don't. I think it was incompetence. But some people think purposely, because we were doing so much better than any other country ever, and we got hit. But I will tell you, we would be paying that debt off right now at levels like never seen before,
So
and it would have been a beautiful thing.
You brought us to energy independence for the first time in 75 years. Before you ran, I remember we had many discussions about energy independence, and you're saying that you would, in a second term, you will push America to be the most energy-dominant country on earth, and that you could pay down that $34 trillion in debt, and we won't have $1 trillion interest payment every year.
That's right. We would get it way down. And, you know, look, so it's Biden inflation. That's what it is. What he did with energy is unbelievable, because energy went up so much, gasoline $5, $6 a gallon, that's what caused inflation. Now it's all over the place, but you have 29% total inflation. Now when it holds up, because the economy is starting to slow down very substantially, so when it holds up, he's saying, well, we don't have too much inflation. But he doesn't talk about all of the inflation that you've had to suffer over the last 3 years. No, we will have numbers like you've never seen. We have a thing in Alaska called ANWR. Ronald Reagan tried to get it approved. Everybody, Bush maybe a little bit, you know, he didn't work as hard. But we have ANWR in Alaska, the biggest anywhere in the world, including probably Saudi Arabia. I got it approved. I was so proud of it. They ended it in the first week. They ended it. They turned, we'll get it back. But we have more than anybody. We have more wealth than anybody, but we don't use it. And then guys like DeSantis and guys like many of the Democrats, but guys like DeSantis and to a lesser extent, Nikki Haley, they want to play around with your Social Security. You don't have to touch Social Security. We have money laying in the ground far greater than anything we can do by hurting senior citizens with their Social Security. Ron DeSantis wanted to bring up on Social Security. Now, of course, he says, well, I wouldn't. But, you know, one thing I learned about politicians, I've known them, I've dealt with them on the other side for a long time. Their first thought is always the thought that they go to. He wanted to raise the minimum age, the age on Social Security to 70. That's a big increase. But he also wanted to raise it to 75. If that happened, people would be devastated. We have such incredible wealth under our feet that takes care of everything. It will take care of, you know, if you go to Saudi Arabia, and they bought many Boeings, many planes, and I said to them, do you use financing for that? They didn't even know what the word meant. They have so much money. They have a fund, $21 trillion. It's all for oil. And we have more oil and gas than they do. Our country can be rich again. John Kerry has to be stopped. He's destroying our country. This guy. I mean, think of it. He goes all over the world in a private jet, by the way. He goes all over the world talking to these people about getting rid of coal plants. They all laugh at him. They, you know, treat him with respect. He's gone. They say, what an idiot, what a jerk. And then they go ahead and they build their coal plants. He goes to China about, let's say, the atmosphere. He talks about global warming. He talks about all, they don't call it global warming so much. Now they call it climate change because it wasn't working. Global warming wasn't working when it was cooling. So now they call it climate change. That takes care of everything. I am an environmentalist, but we're going to destroy our country with this Green New Deal stuff that doesn't work. Just to finish, we have so much wealth and power under our feet. No other country has it. China doesn't have it. Why are we going to electric? They do have what you need to do the batteries, but they don't have what you need to do the gasoline. We have, and it's what people want to drive right now. And there's a little story about it, but you're going to see it a lot, I guarantee you. They have so many electric vehicles, nobody wants to buy them. They're expensive, well, they'll probably get them
by the way,
cheap now. Nobody wants to buy them.
3,000 dealers around the country wrote Biden and said, please stop making us sell something they don't want. Ford lost $4.5 billion. Let me ask you this.
You know the government is subsidizing that.
A lot. They're paying a lot.
Saying every time you make a car, we give you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and the people don't want them. And I'm not knocking electric cars. We should sell electric, but we should also sell combustion engine gasoline cars. We can sell hybrids. The hybrids are fine. We should be able to buy everything. Some people might like an electric car. We should be able to buy an electric car. But to say that we're not going to do, and this is our strength because we have this stuff under the ground, and we have people going around really destroying our country. They're destroying our country at the border. They will allow, in my opinion, because you don't hear the real numbers, 15 million people into our country by the time Biden gets out, which hopefully will be very soon. If they get another term, this country is finished. By the time he gets out, and the people are coming from prisons all over the world, they're coming from mental institutions all over the world, and they're terrorists, and this country is going to be suffering a very big price. It's amazing that it hasn't happened. And interestingly, I had very strong borders, the strongest ever. We had the strongest border in history. All they had to do is leave Brandon Judd and leave Tom Homan and leave all these guys.
Let me put this up on the screen.
Yeah, we had the strongest borders in history.
Let me put this on the screen.
Go ahead.
Iran is the #1 state sponsor of terror.
Right.
Okay, well, foreign nationals founded our southern border because of Joe Biden's open borders.
Right.
From Iran, 659. From Syria, 538. From Afghanistan, 6,386. Egypt, 3,153. 12,605 from Russia, 26,113 from China. Now, could you explain to me, what do you think the odds are that among that group of people, from our top geopolitical foes in most cases, that terrorist cells have entered the country because of the 8 million people Joe Biden has allowed into this country unvetted? What are the odds?
The odds are 100%. Look, why do we have 26,000 people?
How scary is that?
Think of it. It's 100. No, it's 100%. And by the way, we had nothing during remember I had the travel ban. I said, I don't want people coming from countries that want to blow us up. And we put a travel ban, and some people thought I was discriminating. But if you think about it, I went 4 years with no problem. We didn't have any problem. We didn't have buildings being knocked down. We didn't have World Trade Centers. We didn't have any of that. We had a very strong travel ban. And if you came from a country that was a country, I can tell you right now, I can name every one of them. We just didn't want you. I'm sorry. And we actually had it passed by the Supreme Court, and that was a big day. But we didn't have a problem.
Got to take a break. We'll come back. More with that from Davenport, Iowa, with former President Donald Trump. Straight ahead as we continue.
The world wants you to think.
All right, so that was a good segment, I guess. We're still not getting into like the specifics of policy, which is what I would prefer. More of just broad ideas.
It can help you get clear.
But then again, that's kind of where Trump shines. People don't really care to hear policy from him. They just want to hear, you know, what he's, you know, the crazy stuff. But I would prefer specifics.
Serious allergic reactions can happen. Otezla may cause severe diarrhea.
I want to hear his plan on Social Security, honestly.
People taking Otezla had depression, suicidal
He brought up that Ron and Haley were going to take your Social Security, but I want to hear his plan on what he's going to do. So if we do nothing in 10 years, there will be a 40% decrease in pay for Social Security. So really, what I think we need to do is we need to have means testing. And nobody wants to hear this, but we've got to raise the retirement age, not to 70, but, and not for people who are just about to retire, you know, like my generation, the younger people. And if they can't plan to retire a couple years later at this age, then they've got bigger problems than the Social Security check. And we do need to implement things like means testing, because do people like Warren Buffett or Mark Zuckerberg really need the Social Security check? I don't think so. And that's taken away from, you know, that's taking away money from people who actually need it. So I think that's one of the conversations we're going to have is means testing, raising the social the retirement age.
Signing up is fast, easy, and totally free. Those who've served in uniform deserve the best savings on the internet. If you qualify, visit govex.com and join a community of patriots and pros. You've earned it. GovX, savings for those who serve.
So if I had to predict right now on where we're going with this whole primary, I would say Asa Hutchinson's going to be the next to go. And then from there, everybody else is going to go through Iowa. And if Vivek doesn't come in like second, he's probably going to have to drop out. And then, because I don't think he's in it to win it anyways, if I'm being honest with you guys. I think he's just vying for a cabinet position or VP with Trump. So he'll probably go through Iowa just to say that he did it and just to see how he does. And he'll probably come in, you know, 4th or 5th or maybe 3rd if he's lucky. And then he'll drop out, and his 5-6% will mostly probably go to Trump and maybe a little bit to everybody else. And then we'll go into New Hampshire with Trump, Haley, DeSantis, and Christie. Unless Christie and DeSantis decide to get out and back Haley, which I don't think is going to happen because DeSantis really is kind of still riding the wave from his midterm, and he thinks he's like, you know, he thinks he's going to be president, and I don't blame him because everybody put the idea in his head. So I think he's going to be in this for the long haul. And then Christie has been on the record with saying he's going all the way to the convention with Trump, and he's obviously not going to back out before New Hampshire because he's like he's putting all his money on New Hampshire. So, but my thing is we go through New Hampshire and Christie like comes in 3rd or 4th. I don't see how he could justify staying in at any point past that, much less the convention. He's at 4% in Iowa. He's at like 2% South Carolina, 1% in Nevada. So I don't see where else he's going to get any delegates, really.
You prepare for the unexpected. So do we.
And then, I don't know if you guys know this, but so we have Iowa, January 15th. The following week on the 23rd, we have New Hampshire. Then the first week of February, we have Nevada and the Virgin Islands. And then immediately after that, we have South Carolina. And then from there, we go to Super Tuesday. And if Trump wins Iowa and New Hampshire, I'm probably going to call it. But I was talking to somebody and they made the argument that Trump may be dominating in the polls. Oh, we're back.
Welcome back to Hannity, broadcasting from Davenport, Iowa. Thank you so much for being here. We continue with former President Donald Trump. The Iowa caucus is coming up soon. Let me give you the last word tonight. The people of Iowa, the first caucus, not that far away. Your final message to the people.
Well, first of all, I love this state. We had two big victories here, big victories. We won by a lot. And from the enthusiasm in the polls, we're going to win by a lot more than we won even the last two times. But we won by a lot. I kept you first in the nation. You know that. I was the one. Nobody else. I kept you first. There was a big move, Sean, to move Iowa into the middle or to the back of the pack because they don't know if it represents this country. I said, Iowa represents this country more than any place, and it also represents tradition. When you think of Iowa, you think of farms and you think of politics, and we're going to keep it that way, okay? But I just want to thank the people in this room because they really get it. I don't have to go through the liquid gold with them. They know all about it, and they also know they have their own liquid gold. It's called corn, okay? And that corn is just as good. But I love you very much. You've been so incredible to me. I'm going to be around for the next, it's 5 weeks now. And we'll be coming here a little bit, and then the last couple of weeks we'll be blitzing because we don't want to we're up, I guess, by like 30 or 40 points, but we're not taking any chances. We don't want to take any chance. And you know, the really nice thing, you know, when you have a good time and when you love people and they love you, this hour went so fast. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
President Donald Trump. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have left this evening. Thank you for being with us. Quick programming note, live audience shows in New York City tomorrow.
Well, that was the shortest town hall I've ever seen in my life. I thought we had 2 hours, and I'm not sure why we would ever have an hour-long town hall.
Thank you, Davenport. God bless you.
All right, so that was almost completely worthless. I don't think we really got anything out of that. I've never seen a town hall or a debate that was an hour long. They're always 2 hours. And I'm not sure how that was a town hall. There was no questions asked from the audience. It was just an interview with Sean Hannity with a live audience. So that was crap. I would have liked to have had some audience questions. And, not like pre-screened softball questions that the advisors have to approve of beforehand. I mean, like randomly calling on somebody in the audience and letting them ask whatever they want. So I guess we still have quite a few people here, so I guess we can chat before I end the stream here. So what did you guys think? He really just kind of talked about drilling, the border, Biden's age, and then Sean Hannity was all fixated on that whole dictator thing at the beginning.
I know it. I was an English major, and all I learned was, he who smelt it, dealt it. Shakespeare, Othello. But as our society has decided to enable stupid ideas, now we're getting more of them. It's cause and effect. We've incentivized faulty thinking, and it's everywhere. Just look outside. These mindless and unstable protests are...
Yeah, you're totally right. Joe Biden should be doing debates. He should be doing town halls. He's not doing anything. They canceled the primary in Florida, but that's good. We want Biden to be the nominee because if Biden's the nominee, we're going to win easily. And I don't know if you guys are following, but Cenk Uygur, host of the Young Turks, has just been disqualified from the ballot in Arkansas after he was originally approved, and they backtracked on it. And that's funny because he made a big deal out of it at first when he got approved. And then they just said, nah, never mind. And so Cenk is making the argument that there's a clause in the 14th Amendment that amends the requirement to be president and allows for naturalized citizens to run. But I don't think that, or he's referring to a Supreme Court case that references that section of the 14th Amendment. But I don't think that has anything to do with running for president. I just think that has to do with discrimination overall. So Cenk cannot run. He's from Turkey, and that should be the end of it.
All of a sudden, it can't be as simple as wanting to use both the men's and the ladies' room depending on the line. But how do they all arrive at this new realization about themselves at the exact same time? To reject millions of years of evolution.
Yeah, it's not a town hall unless you have audience asking questions.
Well, it's evidence of a social and psychological contagion. All those things flourish among the impressionable and the weak. Now, kids are already that way. Their brains are as formless as Joy Behar and a moo-moo. But perhaps the liberal style of parenting made them even weaker, unable to develop their own self and demanding others to accept a manufactured one.
And so guys, tomorrow we have the debate, the primary debate. And then immediately following that, I'm going to do another primary prediction where we stand after the debate. So make sure you're looking out for that.
And you hope it's just that, because you indulge this thing even more, the delusion can be irreversible. You end up at the worst case scenario, castrating a child because of gender dysphoria, which is nuts, no pun intended. According to a new study, gender dysphoria is not a thing to be remedied with a scalpel, but a symptom of mental illness. Now, this isn't some fringe research. It's from the Journal of European Psychiatry, published by Cambridge University Press.
What's up, Jason? Welcome to the stream. We're actually just wrapping up. You missed the town hall, or the interview with Sean Hannity.
Psychiatric needs still persist regardless of medical gender reassignment, which undermines all those arguments we hear for transitioning. You know, by standing in the way of surgery, that's going to lead to suicide. You're putting children at risk. So we must take a child's self-diagnosis seriously.
If Trump wins next November, I'm going to the inauguration for sure.
Increase this so-called risk of suicide. But the same lead author of that study also found that
He talked about his plans for day one. He's going to sign some executive orders, send the National Guard to the border, open drilling back up.
These kids, this is what they're being taught at schools and in culture. This is the adults in their lives, the people they've been told to trust, have abdicated their roles as teachers and parents. And for adults, it's also for attention as well, for the likes.
All right, guys. So it looks like we're all finished up here. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and be here tomorrow. Do not forget, we're going to be live streaming at the top of the hour. I will have my panelists here, and we'll be giving you guys discussion, analysis, everything, and full coverage of the 4th Republican primary debate. So I look forward to talking with you guys tomorrow, and thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.